Now, I don't know if you've been following the news, but I've been keeping my ears open, and it seems like everyone, everywhere, is super mad about everything all the time. I try to stay a little optimistic, even though I will admit, things are getting pretty sticky. Here's how I try to look at it, and this is just me. This guy being the president, it's like there's a horse loose in a hospital. It's like there's a horse loose in a hospital. I think eventually everything's gonna be okay, but I have no idea what's gonna happen next. And neither do any of you, and neither do your parents, because there's a horse loose in the hospital. It's never happened before. No one knows what the horse is gonna do next, least of all the horse. He's never been in a hospital before. He's as confused as you are. There's no experts. They try to find experts on the news. They're like, we're joined now by a man that once saw a bird in the airport. It's like, get out of here with that shit. We've all seen a bird in the airport. This is a horse loose in a hospital. When a horse is loose in a hospital, you gotta stay updated. So all day long you walk around, oh, what'd the horse do? What'd the horse do? The updates, they're not always bad. Sometimes they're just odd. Be like, the horse used the elevator. I didn't know he knew how to do that. And then for a second, we were like, maybe the horse catcher will catch the horse. And then the horse is like, I have fired the horse catcher. He can do that? That shouldn't be allowed, no matter who the horse is. I don't remember that in Hamilton.
John and Gordy sitting around here in the morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, it might have rained overnight. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I would
some
assume
sprinkles. Yeah, like a little light rain, yeah.
Yeah.
Streets are wet. They're damp.
They are. My
Slippery.
driveway was very slippery rolling
Really?
down the hill. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a very steep incline, and it was like, oh, my God. You know, I thought, this is it. And it would take me 8 hours to get into work here. But the streets are good in the city, but, you know, maybe around your home, it's a little slippier. Slipperier.
Or
Slipperier.
Slushier.
Slipperier.
Slush. Yeah. Yeah, so just be
Just be careful.
Yeah.
Just be careful.
Yeah.
My God, what do we have to say?
be weather-wise.
How many times do we have to say it?
I don't know. You know, it's still, winter is still hanging on, but it was nice yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, low 50s.
Unbelievable.
It's going to be nice again today, too. Right now, it's already 39 degrees.
Yeah.
Would you like to know what the afternoon temperature is?
Not
Or do you
really.
want to skip it today?
Screw it.
Yeah, we don't care.
John, you'd never believe it. Guess what I found?
Uh-oh. You did. Now let's find out what the high temperature is going to be today because you found the bar dice.
I found the bar dice.
All right.
All right.
Roll the dice.
There.
48. A 4 and 8. Or 84. I don't know because it's two dice. So
Yeah, you never know.
could be 84.
Could be 84.
But one of them's a 4 and one of them's an 8.
Why is there an 8 on a die?
I don't know. Good question. Yeah, how did that happen?
It sounded like there was a lot of them in there. Maybe there was enough dice to add up to 48.
We're going to have to workshop that one.
Hadn't thought about that, had we?
Yeah,
Okay.
Different.
Boy.
Yeah.
This portion of the John and Gordy Morning Show is brought to you by our friends at Verlo Mattress. John, you may have heard they're having a big sale. Did you hear about that?
I did hear that. Yeah, it was a President's Day sale that continues to this day, right?
That's right. Well, it's continuing.
As long as we have a president, we're not sure yet.
Well, it's going on through the end of the week, in fact.
Yeah.
You can get savings and support your dreams on a Verlo mattress. Don't forget, they have savings on their adjustable bases, and I know you're a big fan of their
I
adjustable
am.
bases.
I'd go in there and try to sell them if they wanted me to do that.
Yeah, really?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, for a limited time, you can save up to 50% on their adjustable bases at Verlo. Their east side location or west side location, free 0% financing available for 6 or 12 or even up to 18 months. What?
I'm just thinking that I might be a little pushy in trying to sell it, the adjustable bases, but I'm not sure they'd like that.
Well, you're a big fan of the adjustable
I'm a big
bases.
fan of them, so much so that I think I would force people to buy them.
Well,
that's where I'm coming from.
You twist their arm, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Well, just go into Verlo Mattress and talk to one of their salespeople. Don't talk to John.
I'll just be hanging around.
Just be careful. Okay.
I'll be hanging around the adjustable bed area. Which may look really sick.
Yeah.
But
okay. Well, if you see John there, just ask for Matty the mattress, and he's the security guard there, so he'll take care of things. Right. Verlo mattress. Just go to verlo.com for more information on their President's Day sale, and check out their east side and west side locations. Okay,
we'll do that. We will definitely do that.
Oh, there's just so much going on.
I know there really is.
Every
it's
day.
A fire hose of stuff, and we've got many, many stories today.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And, some of those federal layoffs are starting to affect some Madison workers.
Yes.
You heard this?
Yeah. A lot of local communities across the country are being affected by this because of the federal buildings.
That's right. Well, we've got some federal buildings here in Madison.
We do.
And they're making massive cuts to medical and scientific research, all kinds of things.
Well, when is our mayor going to decide that we need our own Doge team?
You think
the
so?
city, we need a Doge team.
You just want your
here.
property taxes to be lower. You don't even live in Madison. You live in Middleton.
Yeah.
That's why I can wish it on Madison. I wouldn't recommend that in Middleton. We're pretty cool out there.
Are there some places where local Doge teams are popping up?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, all of Florida now has their own Doge team. DeSantis can't help himself. Right?
He can't stay on the sidelines long.
No, he can't, and he doesn't want to let a good thing go by because he runs such a tight state. And you'd think, well, he wouldn't need a Doge team. They're saving money down there in Florida.
Yeah, everything's
left
great
and
in
right.
Florida. Yeah.
So why would he need a Doge team?
I don't know.
It's under Republican control for the last 80 years. So
seems like
why would you need a Doge team in a Republican state? Doesn't make any sense. But you know what? He's put a Doge team together in Florida. He's going to clean house.
Okay.
Finally.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, hang on to that thought. We'll talk about it some more. Let's get to the National Day calendar.
All right, let's start
for
that
today, February 25th, 2025.
Right.
Is it or is it not? National Clam Chowder Day? Is it National Chocolate Covered Nut Day? Or is it National Doge Day? Which day does not belong?
National Nut Day?
You're wrong. That's an actual day, and it's Chocolate Covered Nut Day today. Sam? Would you like to take a guess?
Of course it's Doge Day. I couldn't even remember the other one because of how dumb that suggestion was.
Yeah.
Well, it's not Doge Day.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, my gosh, I thought it was sweeping the nation.
No,
all right.
Not yet. It's National Clam Chowder Day. Who doesn't love clam chowder?
Actually, I do. I do like it once in a while. Yes, National Clam Chowder Day. Clam chowder is the simplest form. In its simplest form is just soup or stew containing clams or fish. The most common type of chowder includes milk or cream, as well as potatoes, though the Manhattan clam chowder also has tomatoes. And the word a lot of different kinds of nuts around the world. Yeah. And some of these nuts, some of our most popular nuts in this country, are using slave child labor. And some of the nuts that they have a fruity covering on it, poisonous, and can affect these children and neurologically and hurt them, even kill them. So, you know.
Where did you read this?
Way to bring us down. God.
So we have to be environmentally conscious of what we're doing and
where those nuts are coming from.
Eat the right kind of nuts and avoid the others so we don't promote child labor.
Okay. Thank you for informing us.
I hope everybody is not depressed at this point.
Okay. Well, let's take a break and, take a deep breath. We'll be back with History with Sam.
Debbie Downer.
Yeah. John.
WMDX. Beautiful morning, fantastic morning. Buses are speeding by down State Street.
Yes, they are. Away they go. Hey, you want to find out what's going on around Madison and around the state? Sign up for the WMDX newsletter. Just go to WMDXradio.com, and you can find it there. Find out about special events, local news, cool things going on around Madison and around the state.
I signed up for it yesterday.
Did you really?
It finally popped up on my screen. Finally.
Okay.
And now I signed up for the newsletter.
Yeah.
Well, now I hope Catherine's off my case on this thing.
Okay.
All right. It's only been about 6 months now, but that's fine. That's fine.
It's a great newsletter.
It is?
Right?
Yeah, well, it must be.
Well, you signed up for it? You didn't look at it?
No, I haven't. Well, I signed up for it. I haven't gotten my first one, or at least I haven't noticed it.
Comes out every Thursday.
Yeah.
Boy. Yep.
Well, that's good. That's nice.
You're all set.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's get to the history for today, February 25th. Let's open up the history book.
That book is good and dusty.
Okay, let's go.
Cloud of dust.
Are you okay?
Fill the room.
Oh, now it's coming in here.
Oh, no, it's close the door.
Somehow John is unaffected.
You guys did that to yourself. You should have closed the door.
Yeah.
Well, I wear a mask all the time. So.
Oh, that's it. Got the oxygen mask. Okay.
Pretty soon, man. Pretty soon.
Need your tank refilled?
Yeah, my tank refilled.
Well, today in 1870, Hiram Rhodes Revels. Have you ever heard that name?
No.
No.
He was the first black congressperson.
Oh, really?
He was sworn in today in 1870. A senator from Mississippi, I believe.
Cool. All right.
Cool name.
Yeah.
It is a cool name, yeah. Today in 1940, we got some TV history. The very first televised hockey game shown in the United States between the New York Rangers and the Montreal Canadiens. Apparently, showing the game on TV didn't go that well because the white of the ice made the camera blow out, and you couldn't see the players very well.
Well, it was a new thing. And,
Right. Took them a little
figured it
while
out.
to figure it out.
You know, I've talked to some sports guys, actual sports announcers, and they say hockey is the hardest thing to call play-by-play because the puck is moving so fast.
Yeah, I believe it.
And it's hard to describe what's going on.
They're like a play behind.
Yes, always a
they're
play or
calling
two
a play-
behind. Yeah.
Play behind, yeah.
Okay, anything else on this?
You know, I've got. I want to throw something in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the Canadians beat the U.S. recently. I would assume.
Yeah,
right?
I heard. I didn't realize it was a
Yes.
series of games,
Yeah.
and I heard that the U.S. had won one of them. So I thought that we won for like a few days.
Right.
I was so disappointed to find out the Canadians won.
Yeah, it was a series.
Yeah, and there are a couple of clips on X,
Really?
which have to be edited heavily because one player just seems to tell it like it is, and it requires a lot of bleeping. But he really lays into the U.S., the arrogant U.S. players who thought they were going to sweep the series. Well, they did not. And it's fun stuff. I am going to put it together. I just haven't had a chance
there were a lot
to
of
get.
fights in those games, weren't there?
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
But this guy is brutal. He is brutal against the U.S. players and the U.S. in general because of, being a 51st state.
Yeah, we deserve it.
We do deserve it.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll bring that in sometime.
All right.
Some more sports history today. 1964, Muhammad Ali, then known as Cassius Clay, he boxed with Sonny. I think I'm going to pronounce this right. Sonny Liston.
Sonny
Sonny Liston to win the heavyweight championship. Do you guys remember that?
I remember listening on the radio because
Really?
it wasn't available on television. You had to either go to a movie theater to see it or listen to it on the radio. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was not a long fight, I don't think, but it was Sonny Liston was favored. And
Favored pretty heavily from what I understand.
Yes. But,
It was a special time for boxing. It really was.
Well, the radio play-by-play kind of, it's hard to describe it.
I was freaked
That
out.
fast, yeah. I've never seen a boxing match or heard one.
It was so strange when he changed his name. Cassius Clay. I thought, what a great name.
Right.
Memorable as heck. Easy to say.
Yep. And then he changed it.
Yeah.
Yep. And the rest is history. I don't know where we go with that.
We're not going anywhere with it. It's just that as a little kid, I remember,
it
just
was kind of like,
that was different. How would he change his name?
I'd never heard of anybody actually changing their name until he did it.
Yeah.
So, is that it for the history books? Any birthdays?
That's it for the history books. We got one birthday. It's George Harrison's birthday today.
Oh, yeah.
Today in 1943.
He would have been older. Yeah.
82?
Can't do the math that fast.
Somewhere around there.
Something like that, I guess.
Well, you mentioned that
Yeah,
McCartney's
82.
around 82.
Yeah.
So
I think McCartney's 83 now.
Oh, well, correct me. Thank you.
Well, no.
I'm just not keeping up, I guess.
George died back in 2001.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. Way too early. Yeah.
He's one of the traveling Wilburys.
Yes, he was. Yes. Okay.
And you were a big fan of the traveling Wilburys, weren't you?
I traveled along with them for a while.
You were
You were a roadie?
a roadie for them.
They had two great albums.
Yeah, kind of. There were a few good songs on those two great albums, right?
Well, you gotta, let's review the lineup. George Harrison, Bob
Did they
Dylan.
change per album or
No,
Same
lineup.
Same group. Okay.
So George Harrison, Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison, and
Yes.
Jeff Lynne.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the lineup. And then by the time the second album came out, Roy Orbison had died, but he was still, I think, on that album. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of strange. The thing about that was that I don't think Dylan took the lead on any of the songs, did he? Do you remember?
I think he had a couple, but they weren't the bigger. They had 3 or 4 FM hits, we would call back then. But he was definitely on. I mean, they traded off vocals on a lot of those things. Okay, that's enough on the history of the Traveling Wilburys. Okay, we're just getting warmed
Traveling Wilburys.
up. The history. Oh, Idiocracy's right around the corner, right?
Oh, yes.
Is that what we have next?
Yeah, we do have
it's
that
Tuesday.
next. Yep.
Yeah, and we'll be back with more of John and Gordy in the morning.
All right.
On
Sounds
WMDX.
Well, I'm inside of you. And we welcome you to Crack the Box Palace. We've been expecting you. You bring such joy in Crack the Box Palace. No matter where you roam, no, our love is true.
As the 21st century began, human evolution was at a turning point, a dumbing down, until humanity was incapable of solving even its most basic problems.
What an idiot.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
What the f***'s going on around here?
Holy sh!
Idiocracy.
For the smartest guy in the world, you're pretty dumb sometimes.
Could be dumb sometimes, or maybe just all the time.
92.7 WMDX. John and Gordy in the morning.
Yes, indeed.
Along with producer Sam. And we want to mention that we are up for Best of Madison nominations.
We are, yes.
You can go to WMDXradio.com and nominate John and Gordy as Best Radio Team. That's right. This is your chance to do just that.
Well, we will be up for the nomination if we get enough nominations, pre-nominations.
Voted to us. Yes.
We'll be into the finalists.
Yes.
Yes, the finalists.
But there's only a few more days to nominate us,
Yeah.
and you can do it one time a day with your email. So check it out.
That's
Just
right.
go to WMDXradio.com. And we've got
I hung up
a link
50
there.
flyers with QR codes on
Did
them
you
yesterday.
really?
I did.
Good
so
for
you can scan the QR code and vote there. If you see a flyer, text a picture of it to us, and you will receive a personal
Thank you.
comment. Yeah, thank you.
that's very
Thank
nice,
you
yes.
from John and Gordy.
That's right. We have a new email. Just to go to JAG at
JAG, John and Gordy, JAG at civicmedia.us.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Say
We
hello,
finally got
send
that.
us-
I've been waiting for that for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been begging for our own
Our own email.
Yes.
People are
Thank
going to
God.
start sending you hate mail.
Yeah. Don't send any weird pictures either.
Well,
Nobody-
that's probably going to happen because everybody voted on this show, and they said that
Really?
who was the person they hated most, and that was me, right?
That was a long time ago. I'm sure they've warmed up to you by now.
Well, I
Right?
think it would be just the opposite.
The phone lines are open, 608-879-8255. That's 879-TALK. You can call us or text us there, or, do it the easy way. Get the Civic Media app. It's free to download, and you can push the buttons there. And
Yes, you can.
Text us or call us.
Now, it seems, maybe pointless at a certain point because, we're all going to be, destroyed by the asteroid that's going to hit Earth.
That's right. We got a text from Doug in
Yeah,
St. Francis. He
that's
says,
right.
so it looks like we've got 7 years of oligarchs, and then the asteroid hits. Thoughts? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That is pretty much it.
Well,
Could
what
you,
are the chances that an asteroid is going to hit us?
I think it's you said a 3%.
3% is what I
3%
heard.
chance. It's
Yeah.
still pretty big.
Well-
I have a cut that I think would be perfect at this point
Oh, okay.
about the asteroid itself. So those people who laugh at it, 152 is the cut. 152. It's not so funny if that thing hits the
I know.
Earth. So why don't we check this out?
There's about a 97% chance that the near-Earth asteroid known as 2024 YR4 won't impact the Earth late in December of 2032.
It won't impact
But it's that
it.
3% that's got the attention of NASA scientists.
This is the most dangerous asteroid ever cataloged by NASA. So I think it's something we have to take very seriously. All right.
The asteroid is estimated to be 130 to 300 feet wide.
They've asked for emergency time with the James Webb Space Telescope right here, the most powerful telescope humanity has orbiting Earth, and it's above the atmospheric distortions of the Earth. So they're going to make emergency measurements in March and May of this year. Because it's close to Earth right now, and it's receding away.
Back in 2022, NASA successfully deflected a different asteroid in a first-of-its-kind demonstration mission known as DART, short for its Double Asteroid Redirection Test. It'll take time to assess the potential threat of 2024 YR4.
If it doesn't impact the Earth, could be about 20,000 miles, which is closer than the communication satellites,
Oh, man.
that are orbiting the Earth and communicating. This is how we are communicating with these communication satellites in geostationary orbit. So it's a really serious thing and must be addressed.
Reporting from Brevard County, Melanie Holt, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
That guy sounds a little on edge.
He's worried about this. Could hit us in 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, it's funnier than I remember when I recorded it. Wow, that guy is in a panic situation.
Well, so there's only a 3% chance it's even going to get close.
Well, I like the way they started the story, right?
Yeah.
There's a 97% chance that it won't hit the earth.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, let us all down.
Get us all riled up for nothing.
I know. All right.
But they got to keep an eye on it.
Well, they
just
do.
In case,
they do. Just in case. Do nominate us, though, for Best of Madison anyway. You never know.
Okay.
We'll still be here another day. This is a big story. This came across yesterday. Trump has reportedly ordered the shutdown of the U.S. military base in Greece. I'm not even going to try to Alexandra Topopoli. It doesn't matter. Anyway, in Greece, according to a Greek newspaper, according to the Greek media, Trump's decision to dismantle the military presence in this town came after a joint request, get this, from Putin and Turkish President Erdogan.
Okay.
So Putin and Erdogan want this base closed. The base has been a key logistic hub for the U.S. and NATO operations in the southeastern Europe area, and its presence has been a point of contention for Turkey, especially, which has long opposed the U.S. military operations in that region. But this is really an important base that we have, and now Trump is going to get rid of it, decommission it, because Putin and Erdogan want to get rid of it.
Well,
whose side are we on here?
Well,
jeez.
Yeah.
That's
the question. Whose
really
side are we on?
Bad
anymore?
news.
Apparently, we're teaming up with Russia now.
Yeah. Now, this is a story I wasn't going to get to because it's a little confusing. Sounds a little confusing. But it's something that happened in Idaho the other day, and there was a protester in a specific meeting. It was a Republican Central Committee meeting. A lot of people showed up for this, and this is Idaho. This is in their panhandle there, where, by the way, just so you know, little background on it, a lot of skinhead groups, a lot of Nazi groups are in that area.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened was this was last Saturday, legislative town hall meet of the County Republican Central Committee turned volatile after some attendees voiced their concerns over possible repeal of Medicaid expansion currently in Idaho. The Idaho legislature is thinking about getting rid of the Medicaid expansion. All right. And the audience is kind of upset about it, some, but others aren't. This is a Republican Central Committee meeting, and some are all for it. So the people who were all for it were like chanting and interrupting the guests there and saying how much they support it. And there were people in the audience that wanted to keep Medicaid, and they chanted a little bit and said a few things. But unfortunately, of course, you're around Republicans. So what they did was they wanted to kick out the person who was chanting against getting rid of Medicaid. All right. So they took this one, and this woman's name is Teresa Barenpole. And I want you to listen to this recording. It's, it's somebody's cell phone, but listen to this recording. The MC is an idiot, a jerk, and somebody who should be called out on it.
Okay.
He said some really nasty things about this woman trying to get the people at this convention or this meeting to understand how important it is for those families in Idaho to have Medicaid expansion. The guy's name is Ed Bejarana. Okay. He's the MC, and this recording, check him out. He's trying to kind of narrate what she's going through in the audience. Listen to this.
Okay.
I just happen to have a nice loud voice and a big microphone. And I can talk over all of you. And I can just talk for on and on and on. And look at this little girl is afraid to leave. She spoke up, and now she doesn't want to suffer the consequences. Isn't that the problem that we're struggling with so many of the kids today? Is they want to behave poorly and then not struggle with the consequences. That is shameful. I think what we've got right now is a situation where these folks are trying to filibuster and shut this whole program down. Unfortunately, they're being successful. So all of you who came here to hear the legislators, I applaud you for sitting there and quietly listening. Here. Oh, no, I shouldn't be removed. I should be allowed to cry and yell and scream. I should be able to allow to interrupt.
Making fun of
He's
me.
assaulting me!
You out
this
now!
Man is
You
assaulting
out
me!
now! Let's go!
This man is assaulting me!
You
Is this
out
your
now.
deputy?
Wow.
Is this your
Yeah, stop it.
Okay, so
Just stop it. Stop it momentarily. I just want to explain what's happening here.
Yeah.
Now, a sheriff was there, but he ordered 2 men to come over and stop her or take her out. And she's asking for some identification because they were just in kind of security clothing, but no markings at all. And they were starting to drag her out and take her away. And she wanted some identification. She didn't know who these guys were, grabbing her and pulling her out of her seat. Let's check it out. Keep going.
No, don't fucking touch us! Is he a deputy? These aren't deputies! Who the are these men?
So how about that?
Show your badge! Jen, you refuse to identify yourself. Who are you? Who are you?
They didn't come here to listen. They came here to interrupt.
There you
Wow.
go. So I mean, it was
Chaotic.
This story blew up. I held on to this for a couple of days here, but it blew up to the point where I thought I'd bring it out again because it shows that there is a tremendous amount of silencing of the opposition in this country at this point now. You can't really speak up because they'll toss you out. They'll make fun of you. They made fun this little girl. Really, seriously? So there's a question about the security team that showed up there and started dragging her out. Whether they had any ability whatsoever to take people out of the building.
Right.
Their security, they don't have a license to necessarily remove people from this committee meeting. So it's really blowing up, and people are really kind of freaked out across the country now because these are the things that are taking place. And as you've seen, a lot of Republicans in red districts are complaining also about the strong arming and this unrelenting attack on government bodies and the people that work in government. So
we got a couple of texts in here, John. One of them says that Idaho sheriff is on disability. He's being investigated for fraud now.
Oh, really?
Apparently. And also thank the internet sleuths for figuring that out. Yeah, this was all taking place in Idaho, right?
Yes,
at
that
Idaho.
committee meeting. And the weird thing was that the sheriff, he asked her to leave, but then he backed up and he walked into the aisle of this high school committee meeting room, and he started recording on his cell phone what was taking place. I don't know why he did that. I don't know why he took a back seat and decided to just, I'll think I'll get a video of this. These 2 guys trying to take her out. They had zip ties and everything. The third guy came out with zip ties, and they got her out in the lobby. And she was arrested, but the charges have now been dropped.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And she was charged for a while, but then they suddenly have dropped him in the last couple of hours. So, yeah, this is an ongoing story. It's very strange, very odd in what is happening out there in Idaho. And again, this is an area where white supremacists are in training camps in this particular area in Idaho.
Yeah. It's always been a little scary up there.
Yeah, it is. It is scary.
A few decades. All right, it is 6:48 and 39 degrees. High is close to 50 today. We'll be back with more of John and Gordy in the morning right here on WMDX.
Kiss me, I'm dead inside. Who needs suicide when the American dream is killing me? The American dream is killing me. When
That's us.
Yes.
He's John. I'm Gordy.
WMDX 92.7. Yes, I'm John, and people hate me.
And I'm Gordy, and people are ambivalent.
They love you.
Oh,
Warm and fuzzy,
okay.
Gordy.
And Sam is in the producing room over there, the studio, across the way.
Trying to maintain, some stability in this program.
Yes, sir.
Let me just mention at this point of the program that David J. Frank and company are bringing you this portion of the John and Gordy Morning Show on WMDX. They're celebrating their 65th anniversary, providing commercial landscape management and residential landscape management for our area. You may have seen their work at Hilldale Shopping Center, also on the UW campus at the Wisconsin Institute for Discovery. And they also provide care for the state capitol, just up the road here, a couple of blocks. You can call David J. Frank or get in touch with them at their website, davidjfrank.com. They are experts in sustainability.
Yes.
It makes them the go-to company for green roofs and water conservation and reclamation projects, too. And last year, they installed the largest green roof in the state. That was in Wauwatosa. So check out davidjfrank.com, again, celebrating their 65th anniversry.
You know, we
Sam?
could have a pretty big green roof if we just
We could.
paint. If we just paint it
we should do-
green.
Well, I don't think that's the way to do it. That doesn't
I
count.
think they do more than that.
Put up shrubbery and, lawns and stuff.
This Bongino guy, right?
What's his? Oh yeah,
Dan
Bongino,
Bongino?
the assistant
Yeah.
to the Cash Patel dude.
Yeah, he's a deputy director of the FBI now.
Okay,
He says, cutie time is over.
Cutie time?
Yeah, cutie time.
Really? Now we're going to
So
get
there must
down
be
to
a cutie time at the FBI all these many years.
Do they eat those little miniature oranges?
That's going to come to an end.
Thanks for the heads up.
He's a political commentator and now the director.
Deputy director.
Was it at the FBI
cutesy
headquarters
time.
where they just
cutesy
pulled
time.
out a can of white paint and painted over the wall that had all those value words on it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was at the FBI.
I think
Boy,
so.
oh boy.
Yep.
Should
That's
we get
it.
to the cringe moment that we were just
Oh, yeah. The masculinity.
enlightened by? Yes.
Manly men?
Yeah, J.D. Vance was mocked Thursday for offering cringe advice to young men. He says mainstream U.S. culture now opposes crack a beer, tell a joke, embrace your masculinity.
This is J.D.
That's his
Vance.
advice.
He's
Yeah.
the vice president.
Yeah,
now.
that's this is what his role is, I
Well,
guess. in
He's
the
got a beard,
administration.
So.
He says, I think our culture sends a message to young men that you should suppress every masculine urge.
That's what
no one says that. No one's doing that. Okay. And he also says, you should try to cast aside your family. That's what they're telling him. You should try to suppress what makes you a young man in the first place.
He's saying that's culture talking to young men.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
And he's got a message. Said, my message to young men is don't allow this broken culture to send a message that you're a bad person just because you're a man, because you like to tell a joke, because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive. Those are okay. It's okay to be that.
No one's saying that.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
one has ever said that.
I heard about this quote from Sophia, my girlfriend, over the weekend, and she's like, I like to tell jokes, have a beer with my friends, and I'm competitive. Does that make me
A man.
an oppressed man?
Yeah, see?
What else did he say here? Here's another quote. When I think about what is the essence of masculinity, according to J.D. Vance, you could answer this in so many different ways, but when I think about me and my guy friends, we really like to tell jokes to one another. We like to laugh. That's what it is to be a man.
That's been suppressed. Where?
Really?
Where has this been suppressed? Oh,
Don't know.
man. It's, John Lovett used to be with the Obama administration, and now he's with the podcast guys.
Pod Save America.
Pod Save America. Yeah, he was on Bill Maher the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And they were arguing, and Bill Maher, was just kind of needling him about, you guys, Democrats are never going to win another election because they're taking the side of transgender individuals. You're pushing this thing and pushing it. And he had a good answer, but it wasn't the right answer. The right answer is that the Democrats are not pushing transgender people or rights or anything like that. It's not something that was on their radar at all. The only people that are really pointing this out and talking about it all the time ad nauseum and making this a living nightmare for transgender individuals are the Republicans, are the megas. It's their thing. Maher also brought up, the teachers, they should be able to report to the parents if they're using different terminology for, referring to them in school. They should report this to the parents. And John Lovett said, that's true. It's probably something they should do, but why should they do it? Again, the real answer of that is that the Republicans are requiring this. This was never an issue. It's between the parent and the child.
Yes.
It is not involving the teachers whatsoever. And suddenly making the teachers an enemy in the schools for reporting them to their parents is outrageous and ridiculous. And the only ones, again, who are pointing this out are Republicans and MAGAs. It is not a Democratic thing. We're not pushing it. We're not losing elections because we're on the side of transgender individuals. Instead, we're just defending them. We're defending them from people who are making a point of it and trying to hurt these people in our society.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it.
Drop the mic. Okay.
And J.D. Vance, you can go,
Straight
I don't know,
back.
who's telling him this stuff?
All right. Settle down, Jim. 6:58. Hey, in our next hour, attorney Jim Santelle will come in here and offer us some legal advice, John.
I may need it now.
We'll be back on WMDX.
Let the sun shine. It's the John and Gordy Show.
Please stand by for the John and Gordy Morning Show. Phone lines are open right now. Call or text 608-879-8255 or use the free Civic Media app. And now, live from the Civic Media headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, here are John and Gordy. We're truly sorry.
WMDX, John and Gordy in the morning.
He's John, I'm Gordy. Producer Sam is in the hot box there, pushing the buttons and switches.
The hot box?
Yeah. That's where the action is, baby.
Yeah.
This portion of the John and Gordy Morning Show is brought to you by our friends at Verlo Mattress.
It's where it's at.
Sleep better and dream bigger. It is where it's at. And you're exactly right. And by the way, the President's Sale is still going on at Verlo Mattress. I know President's Day was a couple of weeks ago, but hey, they still have the President's Day sale going on. You can save up to $250, maybe $500, or even $850 off of their factory direct prices. And for a limited time, save up to 50%, John Peterson, on their adjustable bases. Their adjustable bases.
That's a really good deal. You really have to scoop that up.
Yep. This offer is valid at the Madison East Side location or West Side location. There's also free 0% financing available for 6, 12, or even 18 months. And also check out their lifetime comfort guarantee at Verlo.com. That's Verlo.com. John?
This will be a shock to most people.
Yeah, what? Oh, boy. What do you got? What is it?
It's the Doge dividend, okay? It's
Doge
the
dividends?
Doge dividend.
What
Yeah, you
dividend?
say Doge, I say Doge.
Doge? Doge?
A Doge dividend.
Doge.
It was just discovered, and
oh no,
I guess this may be a disappointment to some, but it's an attempted fraudulent scheme. Have you heard about the Doge dividend?
No.
At all? Because all this money that Elon is saving our government will come to us in a check.
Yeah, is this that $5,000 check I'm supposed to be getting?
$5,000 check.
Wow.
Yep, absolutely. What a great deal. But it's really a fraudulent scheme after all. And by the way, low-income Americans probably won't get this check. Well, isn't that funny how that works out? Isn't that strange? Could you cue up cut 186 and let's get into the whole idea of the Doge dividend? You know, they come up with this stuff. This is a grifting administration beyond anyone's imagination.
They're just playing it by ear every single day. They're
Every-
just making stuff up and throwing it out there.
Yeah, no one knows what Elon is doing in these departments,
No,
right?
not even the cabinet officials. They don't know what's happening.
Yeah, and I've got a story coming up right after this where Speaker Johnson is talking about the algorithm that has been implanted in the computers in some of these departments that is just crawling through the system. Oh, God. Okay, let's hear this cut. Let's hear what's going on with the Doge dividend.
Doge, the accuracy of its reported savings being called into question. There's the firings, then rehirings across agencies, questions about transparency, conflicts of interest, the true dollar amount of these savings being questioned, and the long-term impact of the overhaul. Well, who better to answer some of these questions than James Fishback, the CEO of Azoria, the originator of the Doge dividend. We should be paying the debt. Your response?
My response is this. We should be paying the debt, which is why the Doge dividend incentivizes every American to call out waste, fraud, and abuse, to lower the budget, to narrow the deficit, and to bring down the debt. Where was this emergency over the debt when we sent $350 billion to Ukraine to be wasted? Where was this emergency, Michael, on CNN when you guys were advocating $7,000 to migrants in Chicago? And now we want to spend $5,000 one time from President Trump to hardworking Americans. The migrants didn't deserve $7,000 a month. Hardworking Americans deserve a $5,000 check with President Trump's name on it.
This is Madoff-like. This is a Ponzi scheme. We don't have the money, is what I'm trying to tell you. It's a Ponzi.
So we didn't have the money for
Madoff-like.
Ukraine, right? We didn't have the money for Ukraine. $350 billion.
I never do this because there's so much fallacy in what you've just offered. I have a very simple premise here. We're $36 trillion in debt. It's a fraud. As much as I want to see us cut waste, fraud, and abuse, it is an absolute fraud to say to the American people, because of what Musk is doing, we have $5,000 to give each of you. The only way we have $5,000 is if we're borrowing it, because we're that far in debt. But let's at least be honest with the American people that whatever we quote unquote save, we already owe. Now I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond, and then I'm going to say, see you later. Go ahead.
Michael, let me say this. We're fellow Americans. We care about this issue, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to come on this program, but I got to speak truth here. At the end of the day, we've got to send the money back that is saved, just 20% of it. The other 80% goes down to paying the national debt. Their taxpayer dollars were sent abroad, were not sent at home, were not spent in America, not on health care, not on education. That ends with President Trump's leadership today. He is delivering on his promise of major government reform, Michael. Yeah, the Doge dividend plan is bold, and Americans support it.
Didn't get it. Didn't get it.
Okay.
See, the dividend should be paying down the debt.
Yeah.
Not a check to every individual in this country, except for poor people. So, again, if you save the money, it goes to pay off the debt. You don't give it away. It seems pretty stupid at that point. I'm glad that Michael Shmerkanish brought this up and brought light to it, because it didn't even occur. I didn't even think about it really. I thought it was a stupid idea, but I didn't really think where that money would come from.
Right. Yeah.
And so it isn't extra money.
No.
They're saving the money. It isn't extra. You don't just send it to people, $5,000 a person. Oh, that would be great. Fantastic. Sure. Vote for me. But it's really the money that we owe. It's still money we owe. We can't pay back money that we owe. Well, anyway, now I'm getting lost in the weeds.
So here I go doing math
there
on the
you
air
go.
again.
Okay.
So COVID stimulus checks. Just one figure that I found: 150 million households received a COVID stimulus check. Multiply that by $5,000, you get $750 billion going back to the American people. He says that that's going to be 20% of what Doge is going to save. So if we multiply $750 billion times 5, we get, what is that? 1,000 million, billion, trillion. $3.75 trillion he thinks Doge is going to save. That's more than half the entire budget.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, you factor in the Republican tax cut that they're going to put in place, and that's, I guess, estimated to raise the debt by another $3 or $4 trillion. So they save the money, but then they take it back out.
I know. It's maddening.
Help us all, please. Just help us all.
Our number is 608-879-8255. We got a couple of people on the line here. Let's go to Mark, who's been holding on here for quite a while. Good morning, Mark. What do you got for us this morning?
Yeah, good morning. Well, there's a President's Day sale on every day in the White House because Donald Trump has always been for sale. and most of the Republicans now are for sale. They've sold us out to Russia. I got to put my FCC filter on right here. Now, closing down the base in Greece because Russia, Vladimir Putin wants it.
Yes. Yep.
What the living...
Yes.
It's just insane. I mean, Erdogan, Turkey and Greece have been going at it for
a long time.
Now. Yeah. For a long time. But there's no reason to be doing that because it's just servicing Russia. And I don't know if you guys heard that one of Musk's little Doge boys is apparently his grandfather was a KGB agent and under the good old USSR, and he got fired from a job he got out, an internship he got because he was giving information or selling information to a rival firm.
Wow.
So how that makes him qualified to be going through all our private data?
I know. I know. It's crazy. And we played a cut a long time ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, where one of our representatives was questioning a group of people and asking, has Elon been vetted at all? Have you asked him what he's doing? Does anybody know what he's doing? And none of them knew. It was an incredible moment in our history that they're letting this guy just kind of rummage through department after department after
rummage
department.
Sale. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It goes building to building. really. All right, Mark, thank you for that call.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Dick,
let's go to Dick. Good morning, Dick. Go ahead.
Yeah, and this other thing where you got to justify your job.
Yes.
And come up with your yeah. How about they do that? In other words, Trump and Musk. And to Trump, golfing doesn't count and fill in your depends, okay? Those two things are off the plate right from the start.
That's right.
Give us the things you do during a given day.
Yeah,
It's just unbelievable.
Five things, and every time that Elon does come up with something that he has done, it's always we're finding out that it's a fraud, it's a lie, it's not true, that he's just making it up, or he made some kind of major error in his calculations. So he is really he's fumbling. Just the proof he's giving us is incorrect.
Right.
Yeah.
Truly amazing.
It is. It's shocking to some.
Dick, thank you for your call.
We're kind of getting used to it now. Here's a response to the Doge dividend. Gaslighting jackass doesn't like getting called out for his lies. Doge dividend is simply chum for the megas. There is no pie to split. Keep throwing out some sound bites. I'm sure that will offset a lot of the losses for jobs. And by the way, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That was a big story last night. They were talking about all of the different messages being given about losing your job, keeping your job. You're going to be called back from your job that we fired you from. Can you imagine the trauma that these workers in our government are going through right now? I mean, they've got families, they've got bills to pay, they've got homes. And they're sitting there every day. It's something different. They don't know. Now they have to fill out a 5-question form and present it to Elon, because it's Elon who's going to get it. I'm sure.
Right.
Is he going to go through every one of these forms? And every department that he's asking this form from is now saying, no, you don't have to fill it out.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. Yeah. They're just being told exactly the opposite. You don't have to respond to it.
And then, of course, Elon comes back and says, well, okay, maybe for a week, but then you have to fill out the form, and if you don't, you're going to be fired. Yes. So it's trauma. It's
chaos.
Like they're beating these people up.
I know it. Yes, absolutely. All right, 7:18, coming up in about 15 minutes, Jim Santelle, attorney at law. We'll be talking to him on John and Gordy in the morning, WMDX.
For many people, this is a dark time, not just in America. Case in point, 3 years ago today, Russia invaded Ukraine. And to mark the occasion, the U.S. sponsors a resolution in the UN urging an end to the war in Ukraine that did not blame Russia for starting the war. Because you know what? After all this time, who can remember who invaded who? I mean, it was 3 years ago. It might have been Chris Rock who threw his face at Will Smith's slapping hand. I don't know at this point. Another resolution was after this, right? This next resolution was offered by Ukraine and the European Union condemning Russia and calling for a complete and conditional withdrawal of Russian forces. The United States voted against that, along with our traditional allies, Russia and North Korea. So it's subtle, but there's been a little shift in our foreign policy. We're going to have to retroactively change a few of our Cold War movies. So get ready for a hug for Red October. Because I got to say, because palling it up with Putin and Kim Jong-un, with Russia and North Korea, that makes us part of, I'm sorry, what's the term? An axis of evil. Thank you for your painting, sir. Speaking of evil, Elon Musk. Our federal workforce is in the clutches of a heartless billionaire who wants to colonize Mars with vehicles shaped like his penis. By which I mean Cybertrucks. He should see a doctor. This weekend, Field Marshal Musk sent a mass email to every single federal worker. Subject line, "What did you do last week?" Instructing them all to reply with approximately 5 bullets of what they accomplished last week. He followed up by tweeting, "Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation." Federal workers who got this email had no idea what to do, and their Trump administration bosses didn't seem to know either. New Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard told personnel at spy agencies not to respond. FBI Director Kash Patel told FBI staff to pause any responses. And Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. said in an email saying, "Free roadkill in the break room."
WMDX 92.7, John and Gordy in the morning.
7:23. It's 40 degrees now. High today, close to 50. It's going to be bright and sunny all day long. Yeah, those federal layoffs, federal workers layoffs are affecting people in Wisconsin, too. The massive layoffs of federal employees orchestrated by Trump and Elon Musk and his billionaire advisor, Musk. Worker fired from the Dairy Forage Research Center in Wisconsin. Estimated about a quarter of the staff at the U.S. Department of Ag facility in Wisconsin were laid off. And also the Veterans Hospital at Shorewood Hills here in Madison. They have a few layoffs. There's some probationary employees were laid off. So it is affecting us locally here, too. That's just a couple of examples.
And there's kind of a delayed effect.
Yeah. It takes a while.
Over all of this. And yeah, it's going to come back to haunt us big time. This story is something that just kind of your jaw drops after you hear it.
Yeah.
This is Speaker Johnson, Mike Johnson, admitting that Elon has cracked the code with algorithms.
Really?
Crawling through their system.
What?
Those are the actual words he's used. So I just thought maybe if we just queued up cut 188 and had a little listen to what this is Speaker Johnson actually just telling a reporter this is what's going on.
Okay.
And I'm just thinking, really? This just off the cuff? Let's go with it.
And the Congress, who could have oversight. The problem is, for decades, as we know, we haven't been able to do that job well. Because even though we requested the data and requested the insight, it was hidden. How many of you know that bureaucracy was not forthcoming, right? They're not transparent. That's the whole point. That's the problem. That's the deep state we talk about. So they were hiding from Congress. We didn't know that USAID was funding drag shows in Peru or whatever, transgender operas in Colombia or whatever. I mean, it's madness. But Elon has cracked the code. code. He is now inside the agencies. He's created these algorithms that are constantly crawling through the data, and as he told me in his office, the data doesn't lie. We're going to be able to get the information. We're going to be able to transform the way the federal government works at the end of this, and that is a very exciting prospect. It is truly a revolutionary moment for the nation.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, thanks for explaining.
I mean, just listening to that, it sounds like some kind of crackpot in the back room, spouting inconsistencies and lunacy where you kind of roll your eyes and you eventually try to leave. It's nuts. He's nuts. He always comes across very quiet, very reserved.
Yeah. He doesn't get excited.
No,
or
he doesn't.
He's not ranting and raving.
Right.
Yeah.
But here he
Matter
is.
of fact. Yeah.
This is what he really sounds like. This is paranoia.
Scary.
On steroids.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a posted response to this. Speaker Johnson just said the quiet part out loud. Republicans have handed Elon Musk the keys to the federal government's data.
Yeah.
The fox is in the henhouse. The foreign-born billionaire is running surveillance, and these algorithms are crawling through the system. You couldn't have obviously put it any worse than that, I don't think, right?
Yeah, it seems like a nice guy, Senator Mike Johnson.
Yeah.
Speaker of the House.
Now, I saw this. This was a great video on X. Thank goodness. I'm glad it's on X.
Yeah.
It is a British billboard that they're putting up all the way through England. And it's a poster that says Tesla, the swastika, goes from 0 to 1939 in 3 seconds.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah. My
good.
kids, they told me about the swastika Tesla. And I remember seeing a video of a Cybertruck that had a scrolling sign on the back of the truck.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Did you see that?
Yeah, because it's perfect for those kind of projection signs.
Yeah,
I did see that.
And people are like, recording this, and the sign on the back of this Cybertruck said, "Don't blame me. I'm not. I just bought the truck."
Right. Yeah, all kinds of great messages.
It's great
like
messages. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to buy it. That's all. I didn't expect this.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people didn't. And I don't blame people that have Teslas.
Right.
It's just new Teslas, please.
Okay. Yeah.
And sales, by the way, have plummeted. Thank goodness.
Sheryl Crow sold hers.
Yeah.
And gave the money to charity.
Yeah.
It is 7:29. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk to attorney Jim Santelle right here on John and Gordy in the Morning, WMDX. I don't know.
Catherine, she just can't pay attention. Like you, I guess.
Man,
maybe you should listen a little closer.
How many times do we have to say people's names in these stories before,
Hi, Jim.
Hey, Jim, what's going on?
Nothing at all, right?
Yeah, no, nothing at all.
Slow news day.
Yeah. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, right?
Yeah. This is unbelievable stuff. Well, I hear you on with Dom, great stuff, and on your show on the weekends is also great stuff. You do a really good show, man.
Well, thank you very much, as do you. It's all, there's never, hey, this is the only, you can imagine how boring this would be if Kamala Harris had been elected our president. We'd be doing things like, I don't know, normal stuff, right? As you just said, not joining the dictators in the face of the planet, but that's just me. So
that's true, though. The news would be really, really boring. We'd just be talking about how much stuff people are going to get.
Mm-hmm.
The homes are going to, hit the market at a lower price. People will be able to afford it with a, $25,000 check to pay for your down payment. And we'd be talking about all the old days things,
Right. Tim Walz would be saying quirky Midwestern things, and we'd all smile knowingly.
Right.
I could. Geez, what could have been?
What could have been?
Yeah.
Close. We came close. Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah. Well, for 3 months, that was, it was a short run, too short, but a little more time, you never know.
Right.
Oh.
All right.
Well,
a couple more minutes. I got to do a David J. Frank right off the top here.
All right.
Get into it. One more Verlo before the end. So,
The two things I just threw in the chat are just this order of a week ago, which really is stunning. And he declares himself that he's the one who decides what the law in America is. And the other one is, of course, this at the other extreme, this crazy tell me what you did over your summer vacation thing from Elon Musk, which is just
the 5 questions.
Right.
But the thing here is, and we were just talking about it, how crazy it is that the messages, you'll get fired, no, you won't.
Right.
And then you get fired a week later if you don't do it eventually, and then
tonight.
and then Trump takes the side of Elon for a few moments, and then it changes from there. Oh God.
And it really many things, but it just underscores that fundamentally they don't know how things work, right? Isn't that what it really comes down to? They just have no idea what the basics, not just of government, but how things work. And
right.
Yeah.
And the 19-year-olds are in charge. And
oh my God.
I know. With the algorithms crawling through their systems.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Not that there's anything wrong with 19-year-olds, but you should be working toward a time when you can become the president of the United States of America and not surfing through IRS information about all kinds of things.
Well, you and I have worked for the government. I still work for them, but I can't explain to people how tight they are on security. I can't emphasize how much they value that. We go through training every year. We take courses on it, the same courses, maybe updated just a little bit, but how to keep our PI secure, private information secure. So, it's just insane. And then having this happen, it's just so completely counter what every department goes through about securing their own information.
I was even saying to Dom, even this early on, I know we've got just seconds, but early on, even this notion that you just show up and get into the offices, right?
Yeah.
Does he have a letter from Donald Trump saying, let these guys in? How does that? Where do they get security cards? Where do they get the passwords to get into your computer?
Yep.
I'm playing the Amicus theme coming in, so don't be caught off guard.
Okay.
WMDX, John and Gordy in the morning. I'm John, and that's Gordy over there. In case you're watching, I hope you're watching in your car as you Bluetooth it into your radio system.
And producer
You
Sam.
Watch while you drive, John.
Well,
just glance over.
It's old hat stuff. That's information you don't need anymore.
And this portion of John and Gordy
Airbags.
in the morning on WMDX is brought to you by our friends at David J. Frank. They are your turnkey one-stop landscaping resource, celebrating 65 years in business, taking care of lawns, flowers, trimming, shaping, pruning, commercial and residential. And they have offices in Madison, Milwaukee, and Kenosha. David J. Frank celebrating, again, 65 years in business. They can take care of seasonal colors in flower beds and containers, whatever it takes to keep your yard or lawn looking great. That's davidjfrank.com. davidjfrank.com.
All right.
John?
All right. As we always do at this time of the month, we always get in Jim Santelle.
Yes.
Amicus, a law review. Great program. He's on, of course, with Dom every once in a while, and he's got his own program. It's a fantastic show. You should definitely check it out. A lot goes on. You talk politics, you talk law, and we were talking off the air here about some of the things that, government employees have to put up with when it comes to Doge and what is taking place in this government about, filling out a 5-point form, what you did last week. How stupid can anything sound, right?
Exactly. And even imagine, I know many of your listeners have their own businesses or a part of private companies. You've got supervisors, you've got bosses. Could you imagine if somebody, for example, if I simply sent something to all your employees, name your business, name your entity, and said, without any authority, I want you to send to me at this email, again, a statement of what you've done for the past week, without any sense of asserting supervisory control or having any sense of what that information might be, which is also the problem, right? I think about my own former Department of Justice. The great number of things that assistant U.S. attorneys and professional staff do during the course of a week are completely, by law, prohibited from disclosure, including grand jury information, including sensitive investigations, all kinds of things that should not be in the public domain. But we'll simply send them into this broad-based email account and let it fly. It is just beyond belief. It is, if it wasn't so ridiculous, again, it would be, and scary, and just downright scary. It would be funny.
Yeah. I work for the government still. You used to, but, they were really, really, really secure in the information that we were holding. We had badges. It took about a month, I think, to get my badge made while they did a background check. And then when we had the badges, to get into the building of the offices that we worked at, like the Census Bureau, you have to show that particular badge. And in order to use the elevator, you have to use the badge to scan it in like a what is it?
Like a security card?
Yeah, a little security card. Anyway, and then you couldn't get other people on the elevator without them using their own cards. You can't get somebody on. You can't have a guest on because everybody has to be accounted for on the elevator going up to the floor that you need to go to. That's how secure these buildings are, these government buildings are.
Right. I remember well that, again, I used to work in the federal courthouse in downtown Milwaukee, this majestic but very secure building. Again, to get in there for the public, you can get in there. It's your building and you should have access to it, but you need to go through the regular security. But even there was a memo repeatedly during the course of many years that even holding the door open for the next employee who's coming through, nope, that's a security breach everybody needs to go through. And now we have, again, the very young people and Elon apparently just showing up and walking into name your agency, and asking not only for entry, but also the information on, again, government PCs, very private information. I will tell you quite seriously, thankfully, we've got federal judges who are stopping him from doing this, but the IRS and the Social Security information, that is a source, should have people's hair on fire.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
He's getting access to that kind of information.
Yeah, and we just heard a cut from Speaker Johnson, how he admitted that Elon has cracked the code and he's got algorithms crawling through their systems, which is just frightening, absolutely frightening.
Right, and what exactly does that mean? What is it that they're crawling to find out? Right?
Yeah.
You've got government people who do have access because they've got background checks, as you just said, John. And they're properly getting access to it. Why is it that we've now unleashed these kind of alien type nanites inside our system, who are somehow going to cull through all this to find what, and frankly also to disturb what, to eliminate things, we just don't know. It's just absurd. And again, it is so juvenile and so sophomoric. But again, the takeaway, I think, for all of us, it is also threatening our personal privacy, which has been appropriately handled by the government not perfectly, but with a great deal of precision. Now you've got non-governmental people who do not have the oath of office, if you will, behind them, and they potentially, if these federal judges were not standing in the way, they would potentially have access to all of your your employment history since the time you had your first job, all that kind of thing. It's stunning.
We're talking to attorney Jim Santelle from Amicus, a law review that you can hear on Civic Media on the weekends. Now, Jim, you talk about these federal judges. We hear about all these lawsuits popping up. This Maryland federal judge temporarily blocking Department of Education and Office of Personnel Management from sharing sensitive data. So is this truly stopping DOJ from just going on to the next department, the next building down the street in Washington? Is it slowing things down? Is it effective to have these federal judges jumping in?
It is slowing things down with a small s. And so your question is the right one, again, for all Americans. What's happening, of course, is you've got groups coming in and saying, no, this administration, and then as you just said, Gordy, you fill in the blank of whatever outrage there is, whatever access there is. It could be, again, I think there's 72 different lawsuits pending right now. And most of, if not all, the federal judges are looking at this and saying, no, that is in violation of the Constitution, of the laws passed by Congress, by regulations. And so what they're entering are temporary restraining orders and basically saying, until we get back and I can take a closer look at this, stop what you're doing, Elon Musk, stop what you're doing, Donald Trump, and don't do that. Now, there are two issues with that. One, of course, is that you have to have a follow-up hearing where more evidence will be taken, and the judge presumably will enter a more permanent order. But there again, that's for the small p. The two variations on that, which is the reason why it's a small s for stopping things, is number one, the Trump administration is appealing those decisions to appeals courts. And again, if you get to a Fifth Circuit or maybe an 11th Circuit and they say, no, we think that under the Supreme Court recent precedent, the government does have the right, the president does have the right to go in. That's one option. Ultimately, these things could get to the United States Supreme Court, where we do not have a bastion of privacy being pushed back on, right? That's the number one concern that is certainly out there. And the reason why, again, I think there is some pushback here, but it may not be permanent. The reason why people have got to continue to be very, very clear on what their positions are.
Well, there has been a little bit of pushback, but at the same time, some of these court cases have gone the other way, and they have allowed DOJ to go into these buildings, or they've allowed the administration to fire individuals from government bodies. The problem I have is that I thought this was the duty of Congress. And if it is the duty of Congress, then how can a judge say, oh, they can go ahead and do this stuff when it's really the responsibility of Congress to do all of this stuff?
It's the larger issue,
go back on that?
Right?
Yeah,
exactly. And it is the larger issue that we've talked about so many times before on your wonderful broadcasts. And that is, we've come to the point where because Congress does not act, right? You can pick your topic, pick immigration, right? We were close in 2024 to getting some omnibus immigration legislation. Donald Trump didn't do that. We do not have a Congress as active today. Think about what they have done, even in the past couple of months here. They're not active. And so in the absence of congressional action, what do you have? You've got a president now who's issuing all of these executive orders, the great majority of which are unconstitutional, asserting privileges and priorities over all kinds of independent agencies. And you do have a Supreme Court, which again told him in July of last year that he's got to be muscular and active and be able to not have entanglements like, say, criminal prosecutions that might hinder his movement forward. That is a recipe. That is a Congress that's not as active as it should be. And you're absolutely right. They have established the mechanisms by which these agencies should be working. Donald Trump is basically saying no. And that's the other second portion of the fear that's out there, is that even if you get federal judges who say, Donald, you can't do this, he has said on at least a couple of occasions, and the federal judges are beginning to hold the administration in contempt. He simply said, as he said in his first term, I'm not going to do that. I don't care. I don't care what the federal judges tell me. I'm still going to go ahead. And again, between that lack of force by the Congress, a Supreme Court that's giving me authority, and an executive that says, I'm not bound by any of that. That is when, at the risk of sounding hyperbolic here, which is not, that is when the republic begins to crumble. Those are truly, we bandy about the phrase constitutional crisis. It doesn't often happen. But when you get to that point and one branch simply says, I'm not playing with the rest of you, that's when you do indeed have a constitutional crisis that is the beginning of the crumbling of our basic rule of law institutions.
Jim, there is one case that's going to go to the Supreme Court that we know of, right? The 14th Amendment case, the birthright?
Exactly. That's almost certainly headed there. And again, this is also perhaps among the most ridiculous of them, right? That it should have to go to the Supreme Court. You do have lower courts and appeals courts who are saying, no. That special jurisdictional language that's inside the 14th Amendment does not change the meaning of the Constitution. And that's what Donald Trump has been maintaining, that we got to have jurisdiction over people. And if indeed we don't have a jurisdiction, they're not real citizens, among other problems with that sweeping much too broadly, and basically establishing that, gee, if that's real, if that's true, then all of our Native American Indian populations would not be United States citizens. Think about that. In any event, yes, that could get to the Supreme Court. You would hope. I think we can count on at least 3, maybe Amy Coney Barrett as well, maybe 4, maybe 5 if the Chief Justice wakes up one morning and says, yes, I've got to preserve the Republic, would say, this is just too much. But again, that is a ridiculous notion. It is, again, the notion that a chief executive has immunities, also ridiculous. And yet, what did they do? They embraced it last July. And so no predictions anymore from me, because all bets are off when it comes to what the Supreme Court may do.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I was reading where the unions have challenged Musk's order for federal employees to justify weekly work schedule. Their feedback, that 5-question questionnaire, does that change things a little bit? I mean, they were questioning whether Elon had the ability to fire anybody at all. I don't know which way that went, but they amended it to include this 5-question questionnaire that is required by the employees. Does that make a difference, do you think? Adding that
I think it does. It underscores, as lawyers often do, when you put into a civil complaint the truly absurd things that are going on, that makes the big issue even more dramatic, right? So this notion of asking everybody up, 3 million federal employees in the United States of America, right? It underscores the craziness of it, but it goes back to your central issue, John, which is just, this is not a man, again, even Doge, the D in Doge, it's misleading. There's no department. The Congress never created this. Let's call it the Elon Musk, or again, running around inside our government. He's got no authority. When was he sworn in to do anything? And that's the focus of the lawsuit. This is a guy who's been given the keys to come into the buildings and access to the PCs, but he's got no official authority congressionally, legislatively, again, through the courts. We'll see how that plays out. But it's, again, as if anyone, a private citizen, shows up and says, I'm just going to do this, and the president lets that person happen. That's the challenge.
It is, and a lot of pushback from the public now on the Republicans for doing this or letting this get out of hand as they have. We want to hold you over.
Yep. Talking to Jim Santelle, back with John and Gordy in a moment.
John, you aren't looking at me or the clock, are you?
No. Actually, I am looking at you. I have peripheral vision, it's called. And I see Gordy giving me the signal. So we're
Gordy,
good.
You're panicking.
We're good.
Yeah, we're
fine. Okay, what else should we...
It did work out, didn't it?
Yeah, we were
okay.
Okay. We got it.
Right. I don't like the situation. I'd much rather look at Sam at this point, but I...
Well, when we get the new studio set.
Yeah, the new studio will work out just fine.
If that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Who knows? They may box up that stuff and send it to Minnesota.
or to your garage, one of the two, right?
Yeah. What else are we going to hit on here?
So, one other option.
I got to do Verlo. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, sure. No, one of the other. I mean, a week ago today, he flew under the radar for a lot of people. Again, I spent most of the show on Saturday talking about this. The real simple way to understand it. Again, you get it, and it's all of its glorious wildness. But he basically says that for all kinds of independent agencies like the SEC, the Federal Communications Commission, look around you, right? the Federal Reserve, that he is the only one who decides what the law is. And by the way, if you disagree with him, you will probably be fired. That is, again, that is I regard that a week ago as the declaration of his authoritarianism. That's the final piece here, right?
Well, let's get into
the
that.
law.
That's what you
Right.
wanted. That you brought that up as something you want to talk about.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
definitely get
huge.
into that part of it. Okay.
20 seconds.
Here we go.
How much? 20 seconds?
20 seconds.
Okay, 20. Are you sure?
You can look at the
How
clock,
about
too,
15?
John.
I don't.
I think it's about 10.
I don't know what the.
Can't do math fast.
I don't know
10
what the
now.
clock is supposed to
It's
read.
about 5 seconds. It is 7:51. 92.7 WMDX with John and Gordy in the morning. And this portion of the show is being brought to you by Verlo Mattress. The Verlo's President's Sale continues this week, but you better get in there to take advantage of their free 0% financing available for up to 18 months. You can save up to 50% on their adjustable bases. All kinds of great deals going on during the President's Day sale, but it ends at the end of the week at Verlo Mattress, East Side location, West Side location, and you can get more information at verlo.com. John?
We're talking to Jim Santelle, Amicus, a law review. You can listen to that on the weekends from 9 to 11 on Saturday.
Right.
And I think there's one part here that is a little confusing for me in that the Supreme Court got rid of the Chevron doctrine, which allowed agencies to have some legal ability to regulate, right, from their departments.
Absolutely.
And that was switched over to the courts instead. Now they have control over it. But then all of a sudden, Trump came out and said that he is going to be making the decision for everybody. So am I right on this thing? Have we suddenly switched around here?
You are, and we're certainly sending mixed signals from Washington, D.C. about who's in control, right? This is a larger theme that I think we're all suffering under. You're absolutely right. And so this is this Loper Bright Enterprises case. It was from very late June of last year, and basically said that again, no more discretion inside federal judges to determine to object to go opposite to what the experts are telling us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a rejection of the notion we've got people inside agencies who know what they're doing. In some ways, what the president did a week ago today is consistent with that, because he also says that, at least with respect to what are called the independent agencies, people say, well, what are those? Geez, the reality is that there are an awful lot of them. The Federal Trade Commission, huge, right? The National Labor Relations Board regulates labor. The Federal Communications Commission, maybe even a part of the Federal Reserve, right? All those kinds of things created by Congress to be out there, yes, but they're independent of the executive branch. They can still be in court, and judges can still take a look at what they're doing. But the whole notion was they should not be subject to the political whims and the animation of the president. A week ago, he issued one of his many executive orders and said, not just effectively, but realistically, that when it comes to understanding what the law is, you've got it just right, John. Now he is the one, and maybe the attorney general along the way, if she cares to weigh in along the way, that they're the ones who are going to tell us what the law is. And oh, by the way, when it comes to communications policy, labor policy, again, economic policy, the Federal Reserve, many other of these independent agencies created by Congress to be independent, not have this kind of political intervention by the executive. Now he's going to make that decision. And this is right out of Project 2025. It's called the unitary executive theory. I suspect many of your listeners remember this well. We've talked about it. And it's this notion that there is one executive, it's Donald Trump, and he is responsible for every single decision that's made inside that frankly, the second branch of government there. And that's just not the constitutional design. That is not the legislative design. It's another instance of his running roughshod over what Congress has done, what the Constitution says, and how things work. And it's been in place now for a week. It'll be challenged once again. But to my mind, not in any way diminishing the significance of all of these other things that are outrageous in terms of government actions that he's engaging in. This is the one in which he declares himself the dictator. He says, I am the law. I'm going to tell you what the law is, and nobody else will do that. That, once again, should send shivers up the spines of all of us.
Well, you mentioned somebody's got to challenge it. Who the heck is going to be able to challenge that particular, I am king
right.
statement?
Exactly, right. And so it's got to happen in the weeds once again. Yeah, National Labor Relations Board. He declares something. He says, these are the labor laws now. These are the employment laws. And someone who is aggrieved by that's got to run into court and say, no, they're not. But individually, again, all these specific and separate agencies will come under review then, and we'll have, we've got something like, more than 70 lawsuits. This promises to spawn even more. And in the meantime, we depend upon federal judges once again to stop it. And we also have a president who says, federal judges, who are they? No, I'm the president. I will do what I want. This is a mix of great concern. People talk about the coming authoritarianism. It's here. It's here.
Yeah. And this has been well researched for years by all of these conservative organizations and groups. This is the culmination of what they have been working on. Project 2025 was just an incredible piece of documentation. Absolutely incredible.
Right. And again, I hesitate to say to the credit, because it's not to the credit of anybody in America on the face of the planet, but they're prepared. And you're right. This is, again, the unitary executive theory around since Ronald Reagan. And finally, even like presidential immunity, nobody believed that. Now finally it's taking hold.
That's right. That was a big deal during the George W. administration, the unitary executive. I thought they really wanted to push it at that point, but didn't have the ability to do it. But Trump, of course, doesn't believe that there are any rules or regulations or guardrails, doesn't even know anything about government, so it's not a big deal to him.
Right. And again, he fundamentally doesn't understand how government works. That's also a huge problem.
Absolutely.
Jim Santelle, thank you for joining us. You can
Always
listen
a
to
pleasure.
Jim with the Amicus Law Review Saturdays, 9 a.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Time just flies by.
Jim, we'll see you next time. Appreciate it.
Just that.
All right.
Stephanie Miller's coming up next. Also, tomorrow, Mike McCabe will join us. Yep. He's going to be talking about how to brace for the news cycle every day.
Wow.
Can't wait for that.
All right.
Have a great day. We'll talk to you in 22 hours right here.
Well, thank you.
WMDX, yeah. Okay.
I'll have a great day.
Yeah.
I know you meant that.
You want another cup of coffee?
I think you've
had enough.
had enough.
Let's go to beer.
Beer?
It's the John and Gordy Show.